Welcome and good morning, everybody. Today's video finds us over here in Baku. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take an organized tour outside of the city. I want to see some things around the area and kind of take a look at the countryside. But the main thing that we're going to look at is we're going to go look at some ancient petroglyphs. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site that's just outside of the city. We'll see some other things like the Fire Temple and the Mud Volcanoes and all of that. We're going to take the My Tour Baku is the name of it, and I'll put the details inside. You can do it solo or you can do it all inclusive. It includes all the entrance fees and lunch and stuff like that. So anyway, we're going to do the all-inclusive to kind of make it a little bit easier. So let's jump on the bus and let's go see what we see. So the meeting point is in this little park right over here by the city walls. And the little bus minivan thing says that the most on the tour will be 18. With organized tours, you never know what you get. It may be good or bad. It usually depends on the other people on the tour. The tour groups are usually pretty efficient. So that's what we're hoping for, is a good group with no stragglers that are late and all of that. Yeah, this is the famous double gates right here. Oh, it's just beautiful. This is what it looks like inside the old city. This is a great area. We've been down here for 3 days and kind of walking around and exploring this. And the office for the My Tour Baku is just up this road a little bit off to the right. All right, so we'll just wait for the rest of the group to get here and we'll get on the bus. All right, so there's our tour guide, Reza. Everybody's finally here. Now we'll go get on the vehicle. Yeah, this looks like the vehicle.
Azerbaijan. Доброе утро всем. Зовут меня Рза. Буду вашим экскурсоводом сегодня и добро пожаловать в Азербайджан. As you can understand, the tour will be conducted in 2 languages, English and Russian. But don't worry, I can switch from one language to another. Be there in approximately 10 minutes, okay? And then we'll visit the Bibi-Heybat Mosque, and then 2 places in the Gobustani district. They're called the Gobustani National Park. And burst out again like a small fountain. That way they started discovering a lot of
10 minutes away from the first
this
oil
brings
well.
us to the beautiful building.
Okay, first stop. So this is the world's first industrial oil well. It was built in 1858. They used to hand dig wells here, and then they industrialized it, and then Azerbaijan became like the spearhead of oil production and export. And they have a little museum here. Kind of a cool area. The tour guide said that 85% of Azerbaijan's economy is oil and gas. So this is pretty cool. Before they had this, they would just dip the oil out in buckets, and then they would transport it by hand with carts. Places like Georgia and all of that. So this isn't too far from the city center. Yeah, some of the old pipe here. So I guess this depth of this well was 21 meters. I could be wrong on that, but it's kind of interesting. So they've come in and kept this fixed up nice. And then they got a couple more parts of the museum over there. Okay, let's get back on the bus. All right, so we're at the Bibi-Heybat Mosque now. This is our next stop. Okay, so let's go inside the mosque here and look around. Okay, so this is the Ants Mosque. So ladies have to cover their heads here, and we'll be able to go into the inside. So this mosque was destroyed by the Soviets in 1936, and then they rebuilt it again, and they opened it back up in like 2018, and it's a mausoleum. Bibi means ant, and it goes back to some people that were descendants of Muhammad that fled to Azerbaijan from the Saudi peninsula. And he was taken in, or the 2 daughters or 2 sisters were taken in by a man here in Azerbaijan. So the bodies are down below, but this is one of the mausoleums, and the other sister that came here is buried at the other end of town. It's a really nice dome with those green tiles. And then you have all the calligraphy and stuff up there. You can see the stained glass and all of that. right, let's look in here. So here, this is the shrine. The high dome. Yeah, so this is the little pulpit shrine thing here. Yeah, I really like the green and the blues in the dome. All right, so that's the inside of this mosque. Let's go look at it on the outside now. All right, so this is the little courtyard here. And I tell you what, it is so stinking windy. Yeah, this is the backside, the minarets. Yeah, they say that the name Baku is from a Persian word like Baduka or something like that. That means windy city. And over here, this is the little port for the Caspian Sea. The Caspian is massive. And then you can see kind of how Baku kind of wraps around here. Over there's that giant flagpole and the downtown area. And there's the Baku TV tower. So the soil has really changed just a little bit here. It's kind of this gray, probably windblown dirt. And this mosque is part of the Sunni Shiite split. So after Muhammad's death, he left messages that the next leader would be a follower of him. The Shiites and the Sunnis interpreted it differently. One half said that it would be somebody that was a bloodline, others that it was a capable person. And so these, one of these ladies that was a daughter of Muhammad, she's the one that's interned here. Okay, let's go get back on the bus and go to our next stop. And then they have a graveyard up on the hill. Yeah, this soil here looks like back home in southwest Colorado. Okay, so back on the bus to our next stop. Okay, so after about an hour on the bus thing, here we are. This is the whole reason we wanted to come, is to go to this Gobustan. This is the UNESCO World Heritage Site here. Now there's petroglyphs and caves all through this whole area, the Black Mountains of. And so in 1950 they made this park here, and it became a UNESCO site in 2007. It's one of the 4 UNESCO sites in Azerbaijan. So you can see here, these are the petroglyphs. So these date back 20,000 years. This area used to be forested. The Caspian Sea would get larger or smaller, just different things. So there's a lot more rain here. And then whenever the climate changed, the forests went away, the animals went away, and the Gobek people migrated out of here. So you can see the petroglyphs here. So this is a boat with the sun. And down here, I think, are the shamans. Oh, this is really cool. So these petroglyphs here, they say, are 9,000 years old. So this part right here, they call the Mother's Cave. It has the highest concentration of petroglyphs in the park. There's about 250 of them inside and out. And you can see here this number. This is from the Soviet era.
They say this is the first ever petroglyph of a human, and it's a female. And as you can see, no heads. This is the neck. This is the chest area, the torso, and the hip. No legs, no arms. Hunter, there's a weapon on the back. If you look through internet,
they got all kinds of stuff here. So they got smaller as they got newer. And then up here, this is the first letter of the Arabic alphabet. So this has been added on much later than these original. This female here is 18th century, 18th millennium BC. Check this out. This is a 3rd millennium petroglyph. So they got a horse with somebody riding the horse. You can see how it's eroded and collapsed down. And there's petroglyphs just all on the side here. Oh, this is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so you can see all the carvings here. And you can see how it's eroded. That piece of the stone right above there is gone. So whatever they carved into the stone is lost forever. This really reminds me of Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. There was a petroglyphs there that were carved by the Anasazi. And the same thing, that sandstone was easy to carve in, but it also flaked off. So you can see here, here's a human figure right here. Oh, this is really cool. And then there's a smaller human figure up here. Yeah, so you can see an animal here, and then a person up here with his arms up. They say, it's conjecture, but they say that they were doing a dance, which they still do a similar dance to what they think of this in Azerbaijan. There's another person. More over here. It just, all these little nooks and crannies here have carvings into them. What's interesting, right below the 31 right there is a swastika. So it definitely clearly predates the modern iteration of it. So they say that represents the sun and the moon, is what they say. And you can see all this sandstone. Yeah, so they allow you to look at about 30% of the total park. 70% is not accessible to the public. So they call this the Hunter's Cave. It's not really a place to live, but they found like a workshop. So this is a wild boar being chased by a dog over here. And they found all kinds of tools inside. And they also found right here, you can see these holes. So these are artificially drilled right here. So they say that they started domesticating animals. You can see there's one here, and they could use this to tie it off. Yeah, so this is the view here. So you can see the Caspian Sea way over there. So probably when this was occupied, this was probably underwater right down there, the lower level that's kind of flat. So they would have been up here at a little higher level, and this would have all been forested. There would have been animals, everything else. And they chiseled these holes in the rock. This was used to collect water, and they also would use it to cook. They thought this was a kitchen. Okay, so what this is right here is they think this might be like one of the earliest musical instruments. So they would use this to make some sounds. And you see them like at some of the temples, they'll have like a hanging stone and people come and bang on it with a stick. Here they used it with it's a porous stone, and they used the other piece of limestone to bang on it to make some sound. And they did rituals up here. Okay, so now we're gonna go about 10 minutes away and go into the Mud Volcano now. All right, so this part, we're gonna switch from the modern nice bus to these old ladas over here, because the road is supposed to be pretty rough going up to the Mud Volcano. All right, so this is fantastic. We'll jump in here. And we're bouncing along here on the road in this vehicle. Yeah, so the road's actually better than I thought so far. Pretty rough, but fun. And this is the countryside. Looks like New Mexico out here to me. And so here we are. So they have some smaller rigs that you can bring up. So these are the mud volcanoes. So there's a large group of them here. He said there's 1,000 of them around the world. It has a mixture of seawater, oil, hydrogen sulfate, methane that comes up out of it, and they actually use it for some medicinal purposes. Yeah, so it's bubbling up. That's the methane gas coming up. And it's not hot, it's just some mud that bubbles up. Oh, he lit it on fire. So that's that methane. And then you can see here it's bubbling up. You can see that. Yeah, there's some serious methane coming out of here. The wind. Yeah, so all these mounds around here are these mud volcanoes. The majority of them are in Azerbaijan, but there's some in Russia, Romania, all around in this region. Now you see that, like the gray color stuff, that's oil mixing in with that seawater. And then the methane causes it to bubble. And these are coming up from thousands of meters deep. Just bubbling away. Yeah, and that's what's at the top of all these here. And the guys are over there working. I thought they were Ladas, but they're Mercedes. Coming up this hill, it was really steep. And you can smell their clutch burning, getting up here. That's what I was hoping to come up here, that little yellow Lada. Oh, that's fun. Is that hot? Rub it on your arm. That's what you're supposed to do. Alright, so back on the bus, then we'll go and we'll switch to the new one, and then we'll go back to town, have lunch, and then we'll go to the fire temple and stuff after lunch. All right, so it's lunchtime, so here we are. Our bus ride back. All right, so this is supposed to be a traditional lunch here, so we'll see what we get. The first little bit, it's like soup with some of the bread and the cheese. Really good flavor. The next little bit, we got some potatoes and chicken. Okay, so here we are at Yanar Dag, which is the burning mountain. So it's not really a mountain, it's a hill. So I can feel the heat coming off this right here. Now, this is methane that's coming up off the oil fields down below. They say that this mountain used to burn the whole thing, this little hill, and then flames were coming off about 3 meters high. But they've extracted oil, so there's not as much methane coming up through here. Now, in the 30s, the Soviets actually exterminated this. What they did is they brought in sand and they covered this whole hill, and they put the fire out. They were planning on extracting oil and gas from this region. So it was snuffed out until the 50s, and the shepherd came here, and they say he threw a cigarette butt and caught this back on fire. You can see people toss coins on there for luck. They make a wish, throw a coin over there. And they keep you behind this little red line here. All right, you can go up on the top of the hill. So there used to be a group of people here that were fire worshipers, and they made pilgrims to this site. This is back pre-Islam, back whenever the Sassanid Empire was in charge of modern-day Iran. Yeah, so it smells like a barbecue right here. Now, it used to be open where anybody could come. The tour guide was talking that when he was a kid, they would come here and cook kebabs here. And now it's closed off, and they made it into a tourist destination. And this is the country out here. The Caspian Sea is over this away, and Baku. Oil wells, all that stuff out here, and it's so windy. All right, so we'll go over to the fire temple now. All right, let's go get on our bus and back to K. So we're at our last stop here on the tour. We're gonna take a look at the oldest fire temple in Azerbaijan. You see the name, the Ateshgah Temple. Now, this is a monolithic, or like a single god religion. And it predates Christianity, Judaism, and Buddhism. Okay, so you can see the temple over here. Now, this is a religion that worshipped one god, and they had a whole set of beliefs with how they had to dispose of their dead and all kinds of stuff. There's actually still people that practice this religion in Pakistan and in India and various places. All right, so this is fantastic. I think this was built in the 2nd century, so 1800 years ago. All right, this is the inside of this. Oh, this is really, really cool. So we got some fire burning over here. And there's supposed to be some holes in the ground where fire used to come out back when this was first built. Okay, so this place is a tentative list of UNESCO heritage sites, but the originality of it is probably what's hurting them. So this is a caravanserai. This is basically like a hotel for traders that came along on the Silk Road, but it was specifically for the fire worshipers. Now, it used to have these vents that would come up over here that would supply the fire, the natural gas for the fire. But as they started drilling oil, the natural gas stopped coming up through these vents and the fires went out. Now, there's 24 chambers around here that have specific purposes. Some of them had livestock in it. Some of them would basically be for the rooms. And like in here, this would hold like the animals. So the Silk Road traders would come in here and they would store their valuables over here. And then there was places for them to do business. And this place also, after what was like in the 750 or so, the Islamic Caliphate took over and they abolished any religions except for Islam. Now these are piped in now. They have underground pipes that bring the gas up It's not natural like it was when this was a temple being used. This building itself has been used for many things. It was an army depot under the Russian Empire. The Soviets had a depot over here for storing stuff, and people tore parts of this building apart. The center was destroyed, and it was restored, rebuilt later on, and it has 4 openings for the 4 elements: earth, wind, fire, all of that. And this over here, after it was rebuilt, they built a crematorium here. This is one of the original ducts in the ground, and they use it now as a museum. They got pottery and stuff like that in some of the rooms. They had food storage, food warehouses. Over here was a well. Yeah, this is really a kind of an interesting building. So there's 24 different chambers around. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. It's always cool to see old buildings. Nice that they're trying to preserve it a little bit. These are the uniforms for the fire worshiper guys. You even have a face covering. So they would talk into the fire. They would stand a couple meters back. And this is the symbol for them right there. And you can see here, that's a Hindu religious figure. They have a god of fire also. And that's who rebuilt the inside, was Hindus. Various little rooms here. So each one had a function. It was for the people trading on the Silk Road. Now they just have artifacts, and they have some stuff that was just dug up around here that they include in the museum. And they got some pictures here. So that's the reason why the fires went out, is they drilled all these oil wells all around. And when you come up here on the road, there's still tons and tons of working oil wells. Houses, and they have oil wells right in their backyard. I think I'll finish up the video here over at this Sun Temple. Now the rest of the tour will just be getting on the bus and going back to Baku. And it'll drop us off pretty close to the 2 gates that we caught it this morning. This is a good tour. It's a pretty good value. We're seeing quite a bit of stuff. There are some things that are kind of scattered out, like we had to go all the way at the other end of town to get over to the petroglyphs, and we had to come up over by the airport to get to these sites. So it does take quite a bit of driving, and I think we'll probably run into traffic getting back into the city, but it is what it is. I would say definitely recommend this tour, and I'll put the details in the video. If you're here in Baku, the tour guide, very, very knowledgeable, and just really a good experience. Something to do. You know, you can get out here, see stuff that you couldn't do on your own. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and you get to see some more stuff like this. And if you have any questions or comments, ask me, and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, from over here in Baku, Azerbaijan, remember, life is a journey. So until next time, enjoy.